Hello there, everyone, and welcome to the Students' Union elections of 2023, the presidential debates question time. My name's Steve Cool, and I'm going to be chairing the question time tonight. I'm a former UCA student, or even formerly before that, the Surrey Institute of Art and Design. I was a sabbatical back in 2004, 2006, and I've been invited back now as an alumni to volunteer to support you through the next couple of hours so you can hear from your candidates. Um, Basically, we've got a number of candidates in the room who are looking to be the next elected student union presidents for UCSE, UCASU for 23-24. These two roles are very important within the university because they ensure that your voice is heard on all matters impacting on students across the three campuses that we'll have next year in Canterbury, Farnham, and Epsom. So, just a little bit about me. As I say, I'm an alumni. I was an officer myself, 2004, 2006. I went on to work for the National Union of Students for 12 and a half years after finishing my time as a sabbatical officer. And I now run my own business, Cool Insight, supporting 130 student leaders across the UK and Ireland. And I can see in the private chat that no one can hear, so I don't know who can hear me. It might just glitch, but we'll see. We'll see. I know that there's also 9 candidates running for the campus officer positions across the site, and we'd just like to say big congratulations to them for putting themselves forward. You won't be hearing from them tonight. They are volunteer roles, and we want to say a big thank you to all those students that nominated themselves. As I said, these roles are really important moving forward. So it could be anything that students face at each of the campuses, from academic issues, cost of living crisis, people from minority backgrounds not getting the same access to things as others. There's a lot of things that can be solved for students. Effectively, the people who are elected will be the student government for UCA moving forward, and will have that responsibility to represent student voice throughout the UCA structures. So, enough from me. I think we're going to introduce ourselves to the candidates now. So if I could just get you to give a wave to the screen and say hello, maybe, as I read your name out, and then we're going to get you to do a bit more of a briefer introduction after I've read your name out, just so you can kind of talk through your top manifesto pledge and what things you want to change or think you want to change for students next year. So, let me say hello to April Lee from Rochester, please.
Hello. So as introduced, my name's April from Rochester, and the main thing I want to improve with the if I get elected would be communication between the union and the members.
Okay, thank you, April. Just to say again, I'm just going to get everyone to say hello first, and then I'm going to come back to you again so you can expand on that. So you've got a bit of time now to think about how you might expand on what that means. That's okay, absolutely fine. Coming next to Cassie Descent Carl. I've said that wrong, haven't I, Cassie? Are you there, Cassie? Oh, we're losing Carl. We'll go to someone else. Okay, we'll come back to Cassie. So go to Jagdeep Singh. Jagdeep, are you on the call? No. Okay, we'll try Cassie again then.
Hi, Steve. Sorry, I didn't have any audio for the start of that.
That's okay.
Preamble. Could you repeat the question or what we're doing? Sorry.
Yeah, so we're just introducing yourselves, and we're just literally just saying a wave, saying hello so people can see your face and who you are, and then we're going to come back round after you've just said that initial hello to hear about your top manifesto.
Okay, brilliant. Well, Cassie.
Thanks, Cassie. I didn't have to worry about technology when I was a staff. I was very lucky and very privileged. So, yeah, forgive me because I'm still getting used to technology as well, even now. So, thanks, Cassie. Jagdeep Singh, are you here? Okay, we'll move on to is it Rajon Vumik?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Rajon. I'd just like to say hello.
Hi, everyone.
And which campus are you from, Rajon?
I'm from Epsom campus.
Epsom campus. Great stuff.
Yes, I'm from.
Lovely, thank you. And then we've got
Welcome.
Saber Salem.
Yeah, hi, my name is Saiba. I'm from Epsom campus as well.
Thank you, Saber. Nice to meet
Hello,
you.
Saiba.
You may know each other, I imagine, some of you.
Yeah,
Yes,
definitely.
we met today.
Absolutely. Fantastic. And we're going to Rebecca, a senior.
Hiya, I'm Rebecca, and I'm also from the Epsom campus.
Yes, I met you today, Rebecca. Hi.
Hi.
Good representation from Epsom here, then. And is that all the candidates we have in the room? Have I missed anyone out there? Okay, that's everyone. Okay, so coming back to you then, April, and you've already had a bit of a head start at this with your top priority on your manifesto. So if you could expand a little bit around what your top manifesto pledge is and what you'd like to achieve if you were elected into one of the next president roles. You've got 30 seconds to speak.
So my main pledge, if I was elected, would be to, obviously, as mentioned, improve communication between the student union and our members. Furthermore, I would also like to make sure that the new students, like the incoming first years and the Rochester students, are comfortable in their new environments when the change happens.
Okay, some very important issues there, definitely with the Rochester campus closing, I believe. So thank you, April. I think we're coming to Cassie next.
Hiya. So my main campaign point is to work on the community at UCA and improve the atmosphere of community spaces. I'd like to do this through putting on more events at UCA bars, teaming up with local venues and kind of outsourcing a bit more and starting more fundraising initiatives.
Okay, thank you very much, Cassie. And I think we're going to come to Rajon next.
Hello, hi. Do you hear me? If I selected, my main point will be that I'm going to make the campus more cultural friendly. And another thing is that I'm going to make the student union more accessible for students. And I'll visit the different classes in my ideal time, and I'll talk to the student about their experience about these classes and the campus and their study life and their personal life as well. So I'm going to sort out the upcoming recent problem. So this will be my first initiative for new student. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to Cyber next. I hope I've said that right. This was Saber. Cyber, please correct me. I apologize.
Hi, it's Saiba. No worries. That's
Cyber,
fine.
thank you.
Actually, my main point is to, as Rajan said, cultural events. This is something we need to concentrate on because, as an Epsom a student, I have been there for 1 year. So I would say because of COVID, it was all shut, but we need to gather students together because everyone, each and every student I have observed till now, they are still in their own bubble, and we need to break this bubble as soon as possible. So I think that's the most important part, as being a student also here. So yeah, that's the most important thing. And the second is, I right now it's a huge thing in UK, that getting a housing thing. So that's the more concentrating for student as well, because as we are many students are coming to UCA, right? So in
Yeah.
Epsom we don't get the housing facilities. So that's a huge problem. I know that's a common issue, but we need to more, we need to get into this more, I would say. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Cyber. Lots of things to think about there. And then coming to Rebecca, finally.
Hiya. So, for my campaign, I really want to focus on you pay a lot to come to uni in general. And then there's also, especially for my course, we also have so much more to pay for materials and equipment and just workshops. So I want to find a middle ground for students to be able to do everything and have it accessible to them. But then I also don't want, another campaign point is that I don't want students to see uni as just somewhere they came to study. So as most of everyone else is doing, a lot more tailored events for each campus, because all campuses are so different and so different energy. And I just want to focus on each campus and putting the best there is for it there for the students.
Cool. Thanks, Becca. And yeah,
Thank
I remember
you.
even my time when we had the 5 campuses as it was back then. The communication, which I've heard you talk about, some of you there, and community, the sense of community, the difference in the campus. So a real challenging role, even though we're down to 3 campuses from the original 5. It's a real challenge, and I'm sure that those watching would like to hear a bit more detail as to how you would like to go about achieving those objectives and those goals. So nice warm up for you there. So you've had 30 seconds to ease yourself in now. So well done, everyone. Just to repeat as well for everyone watching the stream, the manifestos are available at ucasu.com/elections under the manifesto tab if you want to read a little bit more detail as you hear from the candidates through this stream. So we're now going to move into tonight's debate, the exciting bit now. So expect to be pushed, expect to be challenged, but that's all fine. It's the idea is we get as much information out of you as possible so that students have got the most information possible to make an informed choice and vote for the person they want to see them representing moving into next year. So the first question we've got for the night, and it's a pre-prepared one, is many students don't know what the presidents really do. How do you plan to communicate your role and successes to the student body? And I'm going to come to Cassie first on this one, please.
Okay.
And you've got, sorry, Cassie, before you start, you've got 90 seconds as well, and you get a short prompt if needed.
Okay, cool. So first off, I think I'd like to do more kind of face-to-face work as a president on campus. I'd like to have more visibility across campuses and make sure that students at Maidstone aren't forgotten as well. Have some like line of communication there. And then I think really the most important thing here is restructuring the way the union communicates with students. I think instead of having weekly what's-ons, we should probably have a monthly publication that goes out that is a bit more of an overview of what's going on at the moment. And I think something else that would help with getting out the word about what presidents do is having like SU TV screens in canteen areas or like busy areas on campuses, just so it's kind of there all the time for people to see and you don't have to go and look for the information. Yeah, so I think more face-to-face communication, restructuring the way the union shares information, and that has to be done with a student-led approach. So looking at what students want to hear and how they want to hear it, working through channels of communication that they want to be using rather than saying, this is what we do you want to listen? Yeah, I guess that's me.
Okay, thank you, Cassie. And if we could come to Cyber next, please.
Yeah, according to me, as a president, the president has a huge responsibility, including each and every student's personal problems, I would say. So, according to me, I need to make them understand the rules and policies of the university first, because they need to get this in their head, because that's the main thing to why am I in this university. That's my point. So they need to get this thing clear about this rules and regulations, I would say. And then we need to be more vocal with the students, because I would say, according to me as a student, about my observation, I would like to share with you guys that in my class, I have seen that 99% of the students who are Asians, I will talk, they are so shy that they can't even, they have great ideas, I would say, but they are so shy they won't come up in front of everyone and they can't share their ideas. So I think we need to encourage those students in hand, I mean, the tutor should encourage them in each and every possible way that they can vocalize their ideas in such a way that we can also hear. And also it's a great benefit for the university as well. I definitely understand those things as well. So yeah, I do realize that these things should be done after being a president.
Okay, thank you, Cyber. And we'll come to April next, please.
Okay, so one of the joys of being at Rochester is that I've been able to see this lack of communication in the flesh, so to speak. So as president, I would establish and maintain a regular sort of newspaper type publication similar to what Cassie has suggested. And this would be available to all students across all campuses, including Maidstone, because obviously we don't want to forget the small campuses. And in this first edition of this newsletter, I would go over what my role does and why I'm in the union in the first place. And obviously, throughout further publications, it would go into more depth of what the union has done, what activities are available. Just basically, yeah, similar to the current What's On, but in more depth and covering more topics of what the union does, as well as the activities that are already in that.
Okay. Thank you very much, April. Rebecca, hoping to come to you next, please.
Hi. So I think a good point on getting students more informed about what the presidents do and what they have achieved so far is face-to-face. It is literally just flat out telling them what we've done. But I think it would be great to do every so often have like weekly catch-ups or like monthly catch-ups where it's like it can literally be as simple as, here, come and join me for some snacks and just talk about what you've been up to, what I've been up to, or even doing like little bingo nights, like trivia nights, or getting the students engaged with you to kind of, so it's more of a relaxed environment, so they don't feel as if they're coming to you in an office. It's more of a, I'm just here to do some bingo or trivia, and you can chat to me. I can tell you what I've been up to, you can tell me what you've been up to, and it just having a more approachable scene for students to come to you instead of it looking more professional. So more of an open line of communication. And then from then on, it would be relying on word of mouth, which I realize works a lot better in Epsom than social media and emailing does. Because I know quite a few people you'd get and they just delete the weekly emails. Then students in Epsom don't really know what is happening because they're like, it's just a long email. I don't want to read it. So making them even, because I know a lot of people travel in, so making them even earlier in the day, so it's more like everyone can come instead of having to stay late, is just having that accessibility there as well.
Okay, thank you very much, Rebecca. I've already got some follow-up questions going, but before we come to that, I'd like to go to Rajon next.
Hello, thank you. This is very most important question for me because becoming a president, what I'll do for the students, how they know what is my role, what I'm doing for them. So the first initiative of myself, I'll do like this. I'll go different classes, and if I becoming a president for FSOM and Foreign campus, I'll go both campus and then I'll communicate with the student and I'll ask their experience about the campuses. Also, I'll follow the university rules and regulation, and if I find there is lots of problem about their study life or anything else, and I'm trying to communicate with them by the social media. Although you know that in a week we are getting one email from student union, lots of students are too busy, they are not usually going with email, so they are using Instagram, Facebook, Snapchats, WhatsApp. So I'm going to communicate with them by this social media. They can touch me very easily, and if I find any problem and I am eligible to sort out this problem, I'll do it very quickly. Then they can share their experience with their other friends. Then the other friends will know that there is one person working for us. He is the president and he is the voice of our voice. So it is the best way to work for them. So this is my point of view. The another thing is that I written in my manifesto that I will make the campus more cultural friendly. So I'm going to make the cultural event like those who are from Chinese culture, so they have the opportunity to focus or show up their culture in this campus. So other students will know that this is the Chinese culture, so they can respect themselves. And I'm going to show like this, those who are from India, those who are from Bangladesh, those who are from Nigeria. So different cultures of students are in this campus. So if I make a event for them, if I will be the organizer, then student can know that he is the president of this campus and he is arranging this event for us with this university. So this is the more easy way to access with the student. Then student can explore the campus more cultural friendly. They will enjoy their study. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Well done. You got to the end just there. So thank you all for those answers. I just want to
Thank you.
remind everyone watching at home that don't forget you can pose your own questions to the presidential candidates using the YouTube stream, and we'll be picking up a couple of those shortly as we move on through the debate. So good start, I think. Nice warm up there. Good opener for the candidates there. It's also important to note as well that there are 11 candidates actually in this election, of which you have your 5 here today. So those watching at home, it's probably worth noting these are the 5 people who've made it to the debate tonight. And some have submitted manifestos, as I mentioned earlier, whereas some have not. So I suggest you scrutinise them because, again, that information to inform your vote around who you want to be your representative is really important, and that information will be critical to help you decide. So you will all have a chance to answer at least one of the questions as well as we go through the debate. So don't worry, and there's 5 of you now, so I imagine we'll probably get through the majority. The next question I'd like to ask is that this is the first year that UCA has an open president position working across all 3 campuses. How will you work with the other president to ensure you give all campuses your equal attention? I caveat the Maidstone point as well, so I think it's 3 campuses. Maidstone is more of a satellite site. There are there, but in terms of the 3 main campuses in Canterbury, Epsom, and Farnham. So I'll read the question again, and then I will come to one of you. So this will be the first year UCASU has an open president position. Last year it was one for Kent, one for Suffolk, working across all 3 campuses. How will you work with the other presidents to ensure you give all campuses your equal attention? And I'm coming back to you, Rajan, to start off with this one. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
2.5 minutes.
So if I yeah, okay, that's fine. So the first of all that if I becoming a president, so I will get 2 officer in some campus and 2 in another campus. And if I become a president for 3 campus, so I'll get 6 officer with me. They're going to work with me. So as I said earlier, I'm going to use the social media. If I got any problem about student their studying life, about their bad experience or good experience or anything else, so the first thing is that my officer going to sort out this problem and they will take the initial initiative. And if I mean, if some campus I got any problem in like in foreign campus, so my officer will going to receive this problem and share with me. I'm going to sort out this problem. And you know that the major problem is that accommodation problem. So lots of students are living different areas because they are try to based to live with their community. So I'll find the better accommodation near to university. This is the major problem. That's why I'm talking about this accommodation, because lots of students are married. They bring their wife with them, and also they have their children. So this is the major problem. That's why I'm talking about this. So I'm trying to sort out this accommodation problem, and I'm going to open one platform. The look for their accommodation, and I'm going to arrange like a contract with the house rental agencies. And
So we're talking about accommodation as an issue, and I apologize to cut across you. But again, just to repeat, the question was around how you will work with the other president across the 3 campuses.
yes, I'm going with this. So my campus officer will be the representative of myself in presence of me. So when I'm working with the 3 campuses, then I'm going to create social media for contact with me.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Rajan. Rebecca, I'd like to come to you next, please.
Hi. So we've got the 3 separate campuses now. That it would be 3 campuses for 2 officers. Well, the president, sorry. And I'd like to hopefully with my other president discuss kind of like a weekly, monthly timetable, whatever works most conveniently, where we're all on different campuses throughout the year. So it's not like we'll all be based on 1 or 2. It'd be like we would have experience going to each campus. So then it might just be you have a different view going on a campus. It's one thing talking with the other officer, like having meetings and being like, oh, this is happening on this campus, but it'll be a different experience for you to actually be on that campus. So I'd really hope to kind of do a rotation of all the campuses, which I know will be really hard, considering of people's travel and how it would be to get there. But even if it's like maybe once or twice a month or something similar, I feel like it would really help the campuses get a feel for their presidents. And then we have the officers there as well. And hopefully just keeping like weekly catch-ups between us. So it's a very open line of communication both ways. So it's not just like you're the only person working on that campus. You have the support of the other president at your need. So you'll be both working separately, but it would be, I don't know what's happening right now. Would you be able to assist? Kind of having a very open line of communication.
Okay, that was Rebecca. Going to Cyber next, please.
Well, I do agree with Rebecca's each and every point that we need to, according to me, if I get the chance to become a president, I will definitely have meetings with the other president, like I would say weekly or monthly, at least twice or thrice, I would say. Because if we need to improve such things, we need to meet and we need to point out those problems which are the most highlighted parts, I would say, from each of the campuses, so we can work on those things. That's my point, and I definitely agree each and every point of Rebecca's.
Okay, thank you, Cyber. April, over to you, please.
Okay. So for me, what I would do in this, if I was elected, the way I would work with my fellow president would be through obviously maintaining a digital communication that's regular, but also a face-to-face regular communication to my other president. As well as this, I would liaison with the campus officers regularly to make sure that they feel that the needs of their campus are being met. So it would all be about maintaining communication regularly between both the presidents and the campus officers, so that the students feel like they have someone to speak to about their issues and that those issues will be passed up the chain of command and dealt with.
Okay, moving on to Cassie.
Okay, well, I think everyone's answers have been pretty comprehensive so far. And I will touch on a few of the points that people have already made. I mean, first off, visibility is the most important thing of the presidents, and I think that needs to happen from the start. So at the Freshers' Fair, having both presidents visible on each day at the Freshers' Fair at different campuses, making sure that people know from the first day they get there who is responsible for the union and who they're supposed to be turning to. And then to pick up on April's point, actually, I think it is really important to work closely with campus officers. Obviously, they are our best line of contact with the different campuses. And I think actually if we have more of a kind of trickle-down support system with campus officers and course reps, and the union actually takes up more of the kind of strain with dealing with course reps and having the proper feedback from the campuses, it will do a lot in the way of making sure that like everyone's voices are getting heard. You know, we do have a support system on the ground. It's just hard to listen to them right now because the line of communication isn't there. I would also just build on Rebecca's point, make sure that we have officers in each campus each week, at least 2 days a week. There needs to be an officer in the office, and it needs to be regular and scheduled so people know exactly when they can come in for help. And if we're not available in person, there needs to be a better online channel of communication to reach support quickly. But I think most of this work can be done through dealing with the course rep and the campus officers teams.
Okay, thank you, Cassie. So I'm going to ask a follow-up question. So we have a little bit more time, as I say, without having less candidates on the call. I've heard, in the nicest way possible, I've heard of a lot of that before in previous elections. I myself, as a former officer, remember that, having to travel around 5 campuses trying to be visible. You can actually end up spending a lot of your time just traveling. And throw into the mix as well, students are going to have lots of issues and your time is going to be limited. The university will want to use you. The staff are there as well as a resource. I didn't hear much about the staff and how you will use the resources of the union. It was a lot focused on kind of the officer relationship, which is obviously the sense of the question, so that's fine. So I'd just like to follow up and say, how would you balance that visibility of trying to be visible at each campus with actually achieving some impact and doing some work on behalf of students across the 3 campuses? And I'll start Come back to you, Cassie, if that's okay.
Yeah, well, I think you mentioned the staff team at the union, and actually that would be exactly where that balance comes in. I mean, it's the job of everyone working at the union that isn't a SAB to help us get our campaigns done. So I think what needs to happen really is to have a better system within the union itself, that the president can go, okay, here's my campaign, here's exactly how it's going to run. I need you to do this job, and I need you to do this job, so I can go out and talk to people. We have a whole team of people, and if we get them working together in the right direction, I'm sure we can do incredible things. But that relies on really good delegation and making sure that there's good management in process. And I would say that management and oh God, what's the word? Accountability really are two of the major issues that the union are facing right now. So I think it is the job of the president to be visible, and it is the job of the union to help the president be able to do that by picking up the slack.
Okay, good, Cassie, thank you. Cyber, coming to you next, please. And I'm going to turn my light on. 1 second, what's your answer? I'm still listening. Okay.
I would say, can I speak right now?
Yes, please do.
Yeah, the thing is, I would say if we have the support from the student union staff, and also if we see the student problems, the main problem, I would say it will come from the academic wise as well. That's the most important part, if you see. So for the academic thing, we can have a meeting each, I would say every week there should be a meeting with the president of each and every unit's course representatives. So I think this is how we can make it less, a less headache for the student president to be in a pressure to deal with all of the stress. But yeah, this is how we can manage the stuff, I feel like it. Yeah.
I think you're still muted, Steve.
Yeah.
I am sorry. I've got a massive black dog with me in the room, so I didn't want him to interrupt the the stream. So that's why I was on mute. So apologies for that. Coming to you, April, please.
So, so I would ensure that visibility across the campuses through our establishing a proper chain of, I want to say hierarchy, but I don't feel like that's quite the right word. But basically ensuring that everyone knows exactly what their role is and what they are supposed to be doing in that role. So through establishing that and making sure that those people do the roles they are in, it will allow me to focus on, or as the president, it would allow me to focus on exactly the things I need to do, such as staying visible and making sure that the students are heard.
Still on mute, Steve.
Thanks again, Cassie. Rebecca.
So you're gonna, during the time you're president, you're gonna have a lot of to-do lists, basically a lot of problems coming to you or stuff you need to do. It will all kind of rank up. So it's very key to ensure you have a good system of dealing with them. So you've got your campus officers coming to you. It'll be then working with your campus officers to make sure those tasks are done correctly as they need to be, and guiding them on how to do it rather than just taking on the whole role, making sure you're working with them, because then they, as students, will see how to do it. They'll see, kind of gain an insight on how it works in a sense, instead of you just taking their kind of their tasks and doing it for them. And that's the same with anything, kind of when students come to you with a problem, it'll be involving the students, making sure they're part of the process of it happening instead of you just making it happen. Because it'll make the students feel included and feel heard rather than just here it is kind of thing. And then it's also key working with your other president, coming together with your to-do lists and being like, okay, maybe you're more suitable for this than I am, and maybe I'm more suitable for this than you are. Maybe that's how you'll split the roles evenly between you. And then working with the staff in the student union going, maybe this person would be the best to assist us with this, hoping they might have some time to help. And then even going to staff and being like, this is a problem that we've had with your course. How would you go about it? Basically involving everyone in the process rather than just taking it all on yourself. Because everyone will feel included. It will feel like it's an actual process that's happening and not just, we want this and here are the results kind of thing. Yeah.
Thank you, Rebecca. And students' unions, and I speak from experience on this, in 20 years I've never seen it change, always overstretch themselves. The work of a students' union is never done. There's always something else you can be doing. So this is why I think it's important for people at home to hear about these responses. So Rajan, coming to you finally.
You're on mute.
Rajan, you're on mute. It's not me for a change. If you could unmute yourself. There we go. Thank you.
Oh, I'm really sorry for that.
That's okay.
It's
No
maybe
problem.
made by self.
We're only
Okay.
human.
Sorry for that. So I'm going to join with Rebecca, for becoming a president. This post is not like that too much stressable. I have the technique, I have the idea, I have to do the teamwork, and I'm going to sort out those who I'm going to train up my team. I have to familiar with the system first, then I can train up my team and familiar with them with the system, and I will find them who is capable for what kind of problem and try to segregate this. And also I look for another idea from another colleague which idea is better, which idea is best for sort out the problem. I'll do like this teamwork. Thank you.
And Rajan, may I ask a follow-up question? You mentioned training there. What would you train the team in?
Look, the train means UCS running by a systematic website basis, online basis. There's lots of system. We have to know the first. Then what we have what can I access, or what's my right, what's my limitation. I have to know this first, because still I'm participating for a president post, becoming a president. Then I have to after win this president, after win, then I have to know all these things, and I have to familiar with my team. And if I going to familiar with my team, I'll know who is this person, authorized for this, who is this person authorized for this, and then I'll know the thing is that who is the specific thing he's doing or she is doing. So then I can do the teamwork. So I'll do this fast. I'm going to focus on this point first.
Okay, thank you, Rajan. I'm going to keep the.
Thank you.
That's okay. You got that message. Going to keep the questions coming. So, and the next one I'd like to ask you is, what would you see as the biggest challenges facing UCA students, especially or particularly over the coming year? So I'm looking for challenges here that you think are facing the students that you'd be representing. And we will start with Rebecca this time, please.
So I think as we're all UCA students currently, we will see the problems that we've had this year, and probably also just kind of think of it as they're going to be doubled for next year. I can't assume anything's going to go down in price anytime soon. So we can only think of what's costing going to be like next year. What's we're down a campus now, unfortunately. So is that going to be meaning more students on each campus? Kind of Epsom is now taking over some of the fashion from Rochester. So it's you'll have more people on campus, and Epsom isn't the biggest campus either compared to Farnham, per se. So I think it will definitely be getting students used to the space they're in, used to the new environment, just in general, being in a new environment as a first year. I started during COVID, so everything was online. Even then, it was still intimidating. It was this is such a big group compared to what I've been used to. So it's getting students comfortable in the environment they're with, getting students used to the cost of everything. For some people, it'll be the first time they've lived alone. That will also be a big one. And it's some people first time coming over to a new country. So it's kind of taking all the challenges that we've had over there and just being like, well, here's some more kind of thing. So it'll be a lot. And especially think of like mental health as well. Students always have like new things coming for them, new projects, new problems. So it's getting students ready for life, basically, in a sense. I think that's going to be a big one for students.
Okay, and I'm already hearing from it. It makes sense. I'm hearing a lot from all of you around this year. You're going to be visible, and we're going to make students ready for life. There's a lot of work going to need to be done, so I think you'll have to be really thinking about what you're going to prioritise. But thank you, Rebecca. We're going to come to Rajan next, please. Rajan, you okay to go? Unless you've be frozen. Okay, I think we've lost Rajan a minute. If we could then go to Cyber, please.
Shall I start?
Yes, please.
The thing is, I would say right now the biggest challenges of UCA students is accommodation and also the mental health. So this would be in particular, I would say, yeah, accommodation and mental health would be the most stressful thing in the coming years. And as students are coming, and I can see in Epsom campus, I would say, as Rebecca said, in Epsom it's like more students rather than the other campuses, I would say. In my observation, I have seen Epsom has more students rather than other campuses. So that's actually it's a hustle basically to be in there, and so to find accommodation there, so and expenses also. So yeah, this is a main thing to get in, that we will face accommodation problems, and also we need to keep our mental health down. Yeah, that's the thing.
Okay, thank you, Cyber. I've got a follow-up question, if that's okay as well, just based on your answer there.
Yeah.
So let's say, for example, you're working on, in this scenario, working on accommodation in Epsom, and your time is heavily invested there. How do you respond when students at the other two campuses are asking for your time and asking for your support with their issues that might be around housing or other things?
If you see, I can't dedicate my whole thing into a particular task. As according to me, being a president is not only focusing only a particular task. I had to consider that I had to manage other tasks as well. So I can use if I'm not visible there, if I have to be there, but I can't be there on that time, so I'll had a meeting online to get those problems addressed, like what is the exact problem there, if I can't made it to that thing. So that's my idea how to deal with it. Yeah.
And how would you address the problems?
Obviously we need to have meetings. If as I said before, that in online meetings I will point out what is the problem of them, and then I need to have a meeting with the, like, what is exactly the problem of the university students, if they're having with the problem with suppose their own units. So I need to talk with their tutors and also the course representatives. So that's how I can solve their problems. That's an example. I'm just giving it to you.
Well done. Well done. Thank you, Cyber. Coming to you, Cassie, next, please.
Cool. Thank you, Steve. I mean, I think the obvious one is the cost of living crisis. That is hitting all of us right now, students or not. And I think students particularly have a really hard time with this, not least because a lot of the kind of financial support that people get when they're not a student rises and changes with inflation. Our block grants and our loans stay exactly the same. So we are having to pay almost double on energy. We are having to pay more to find housing that is safe and secure. And the money we're getting in from student finance is exactly the same. I think it's an imperative thing really to keep this at the forefront of our minds. I mean, Sol, the current president, has already done a load of amazing work trying to put together a guarantor scheme that helps international students use the union as a guarantor, which is a really great thing. I want to make sure that that work gets picked up and carried on if it isn't finished by the end of this year. And I think then as a secondary to the cost of living crisis is going to be mental health. People are going to be worrying about money, which is not what they need to be worrying about at the time of studying a degree. You know, you don't need to have to make the decision between buying vegetables and getting the bus to uni the next day. So I think more can be done potentially with the Gateway and with the uni. The block grants that have just come out have been great, but it wasn't enough. You know, they ran out of money to give us. And I think the kind of general takeaway from this is that the cost of living crisis is going to hit students a lot more harshly, I think, than is going to hit other people, purely because our income isn't changing with inflation the same as everyone else's. Yeah, I think that's probably my main point: cost of living and mental health as a secondary.
Okay. Thank you so much, Cassie. And April.
Thank you. So the main concern I have been made aware of based on feedback from the students I've spoken to is a uncertainty. So obviously with Rochester students, it's an uncertainty of where exactly they're going to be going and what their course will be like when they move. But it's also that more general uncertainty of how are they going to be able to afford things. And so it's again that sort of that financial element is the main worry at the moment, and I do think that will persist into next year. So having the union strong and able to support the students during this financial crisis, for want of a better word, is absolute top priority. So yeah, that's the main thing that I've heard, is that sort of uncertainty both with finances and with the actual courses themselves. Okay,
thank you, April. Now, what I'm about to say might sound a little dramatic, but I genuinely believe that students' unions and being an elected sabbatical officer, student officer, is the most unique job in the world. I genuinely believe that, having experienced it, being a failed film student, ended up in the students' union, didn't plan for this, and 20 years later I'm now running a business supporting students' unions. It's totally random. I never considered myself as a leader, and I appreciate you're coming into this as candidates, fresh, and may not see yourselves as leader, but I just wondered if you could tell those watching how you would describe your leadership style. And we will start with, we'll go back to you, April.
Okay, so my leadership style, I would like to have a very structured but also quite hands-on approach. So obviously establishing roles that so everyone within the union knows exactly what they're doing, and all of this, and having the students know exactly who they can speak to with regards to any potential issues they might have. So I would want it to be very much a structured approach to leading the union, but also quite hands-on as well. So making sure that I am there and in the front, in the full of it, and not just leading from behind, for want of a better word.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, April. And Cassie, we'll go in reverse order this time.
Okay, so in terms of my leadership style, it's a really interesting question. I think the role of the president is to be the face of the union, and first and foremost, that is where I'm going to be putting my efforts. And as with anyone going into this role this year, we have absolutely no experience on how to do this and how it's run. The people working in the union have been there for a few years now. And I think kind of the best way to go about it is to use the expertise that is already within the union. Maria, who writes their emails, you know, I'm not going to change that immediately because that's been working for her. Hadley, who does the events, like there's a team of people that already know what their job is and already know how to get it done. What I need to do is help shape them to like achieve my basically, and to get the students like views and opinions across and get that working through the team. So I, you know, in terms of the leadership style, to come back to the question, I want to be friendly and approachable. I want to be someone that's easy to turn to. You know, that's, sorry, I completely lost my train of thought. I want to be approachable. I want it to be easy for the students to come in and talk to me and know that it's easy to talk to me because I'm the president and like that's what I do. But really, behind me, the consulting and thinking, I need more of their expertise to get the job done.
Okay, great. Thank you, Cassie. Cyber, how would you describe your leadership style?
I would describe my leadership style in a very organized way, that where can I have the courage to take the difficult decisions like, you know, I know there will be phases that would be hard for us to take in, but yeah, so I'll organize myself in a way that I can take those decisions in a, you know, not being in a dilemma that I have to support him or her, yeah, in a friendly nature, that both of the parties don't get hurt. That's what I want, that everybody does it in a mutual way. I really like to settle it down in a mutual way, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Cyber. Well done. Rebecca, how would you describe your leadership style?
So I describe my leadership style as open but to the point. So to expand, you to get something done, you've got certain steps to take. I really will emphasize those, certain points that need to be taken to be done, but I won't. So if I'm working with someone, I won't force my way onto them. It's like, I need these done. This is what needs to be done. How you want to do them, I am fine with. I am open with it. If it works for you, that's fine with me. Because at the end of the day, we all want the same end result. The way we get there, however works for anyone, like the students you work with, the staff you work with, whatever works for them is going to work for me, as long as we both have the same end result. That's what I'm after. I'm not looking for the whole journey to match. If it works, I'm okay with that. But yeah, I just want to be, I'm going to be open. So if you come to me saying you want to do this, that's fine. If you need advice, that's what I'm here for. The end result's what we all want at the end. So yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, Rebecca. And apologies if you could hear my dog snoring a couple of times in the background there. He's flat out, so I apologise for that. Rajon, welcome back. As you will see, we're asking the question, how would you describe your leadership style if you could tell everyone watching, please?
Okay, thank you. As personally, I'm very easygoing. So as I'm becoming a leader, so my leadership is still like I'm not too much emotional. I don't believe in an emotional thing, but I have soft heart. So I don't have too much judgment mentality, but I'm going to make the situation or make the problem very mutually understanding and trying to solve the problem mutual things, as Sama says. So if I said about my leadership things, I'll try to catch the problem fast and think about the problem, and I'm not going to do this judgmentally. I'm going to do this mutually. So this the thing is that, and that's enough.
Okay, thank you. And I'd say that's enough for the first part of the show, so to speak. But I just want to say a big well done to you all, genuinely. I've been really impressed with some of your answers, and it's great to see that there's a strong field of candidates here for president, or the president roles, I should say. It's really encouraging and great to see. So well done. You'll have noticed we cranked the pressure up a little bit more in that last round, but we obviously want to be hearing from students, hopefully, in the next phase. We're going to take a 5-minute break so that candidates can have a comfort break. and I believe we're going to be showing a short video clip now of how the single transferable voting system works. Rather than me go into it now, I'm going to let the video do the talking, so I don't have to. We will see you at around 18:32. Actually, no, let's give you a bit longer, I think, if that's all right. I'm going to give you 8 minutes. We're going to go to 25 to. Okay, so you got a nice 8-minute break. Okay, we'll see you at 25 to 7. Thank you, everyone. Well done.
Alternative vote, also known as AV. So how does AV work? Let's say we have 5 candidates in our election for Students' Union President. When you vote in the election, you'll be asked to rank the candidates in order of preference. This means you need to put a number 1 by your favourite, a number 2 by your second choice, and so on. In every election, a candidate called reopen nominations, also known as RON, will run. In the event you do not wish to vote for any of the candidates on the ballot, you can put RON as your number 1 choice. To win, a candidate must reach quota, which is the total number of votes divided by 2 plus 1. In our election, there have been 1,000 votes, so quota is 501. The votes are counted in rounds. In round 1, we count the number of number 1 votes that all candidates have received. We can see here that Jim is the most popular candidate with 400 votes, but no candidate has reached the quota of 501. As no candidate has reached quota, we now eliminate the least popular candidate. In this case, this is Ron, who only got 125 votes. We then look at the ballots that have marked Ron as first choice candidate. Some of those ballots also have a second choice vote. We transfer these second choice votes to the relevant candidates and count the votes again. In round 2, Jim is still most popular with 425 votes, but still no candidate has reached quota. The least popular candidate is Gemma, who is eliminated and her votes are transferred to the next favourite candidate. This process continues until either one candidate reaches quota or only one candidate remains. If a candidate reaches quota, they're automatically elected. In our election, Bob didn't quite reach quota by the last round, but as he's the last candidate remaining, he's elected. For more information on AV, check out the Electoral Reform Society website or contact the returning officer in your students' union.
Just to let everybody know, we'll be restarting in 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Union uses the alternative vote. So how does
Okay. Hello and welcome back, candidates. You're doing a fab job, as I said before you went off for a break. You're doing a really fab job so far. Not long to go. Appreciate it's been a bit more intense with only being 5 of you online. We're not spreading it out across the 11, so I'm coming to you a bit quicker than maybe I would have been. So stick with it. You're doing a fabulous job. Okay, so we're going to now move on to some questions from students before we open it up to the audience. So bear with me, I'm getting questions sent through. So from Ratimi here. So hello, my name is Timmy. I'm a former presidential candidate for the Surrey campuses. My question is, how will you work alongside with the staff to improve the teaching standard for all campuses? And we will go to April for this one.
So, to work, obviously, the presidential role is designed for working alongside the staff. So, I would focus on establishing what the needs of each course are. So, for example, if it could be maybe more equipment brought in, such as cameras in the case of photography, more technical stuff, or just finding out what the students need to improve the course, and just bringing about those improvements. So it's all about the student feedback, what exactly they want. So whether it's having more staff, whether it's having more tech, just finding out what they need and what the best way to tackle those problems would be.
Okay. Thank you, April. And Cyber, would you agree with April's assessment there?
For that, actually, I wasn't able to listen anything.
Okay, I apologise. In that case, we'll ask Rajan. Rajan, what's your response to April's answer to that question? Oh, you're mute. You're on mute.
I do apologize.
Okay.
I'm very sorry. I didn't understand this question clearly. Can you please ask this question and clarify?
Okay, so I was asking you what you thought about April's response to that question from Timmy. Can you hear?
Yes, I'm hearing you. Just I missed some I missed to listen something. So
Okay. Okay. So let's how would you work alongside the staff to improve the teaching standard of all campuses then?
Oh, I see. Okay, and I understand this question. So thank you. So the presidential post, decorum is this like I have to work with campus staffs as well. So I'm trying to maintain good communication with them, and also I'll try to. I should respect them. Also, I'll try to make good communication with them, and if I have chance to discuss about my idea with some tutor, then I'll discuss with them because they have lots of experience. So this is the way that I will work, like make a good relationship with them. Thank you.
Okay. And Cassie, would you agree with Roger? Is that the way to improve teaching standard on all campuses, do you think?
I mean, I think it's an interesting question to begin with because the union isn't really responsible for the academic quality at UCA. But if we are going with this question of how the president's going to be improving the teaching standard with staff, I think it has to be to do with access. And I think it has to be do with how staff are teaching to and interacting with disabled and neurodiverse students. So that means more lectures being recorded, more notes being sent through to students, more of a kind of diverse understanding of different people's capabilities, the fact that some people might not be able to attend any taught sessions, but they're very much engaged with the course online. So I think in terms of improving the teaching standards, aside from like going into the classrooms and scrutinizing, which isn't really our role, it has to do with access and how easy it is for students to access the course. UCA has a very, very diverse population. I think almost half of the populace of UCA have a declared disability or neurodiversity. And lecture capture and recording lectures is still not something that is fully implemented even post-COVID, which I think honestly is a bit shameful. Like we should be up to scratch with this now. I think we should start with looking at common issues across courses, putting together focus groups with students to see what their issues are with accessing teaching materials and accessing the good teaching, instead of trying to look at the actual quality of stuff that's coming out from lecturers.
Okay, thank you, Cassie. Rebecca, anything to add to what you've heard so far, or any points you would disagree with or would like to endorse or support?
So I agree with everyone's points. The union isn't fully in charge of dealing with the courses, but teachers are still part of the university. For students to get the most of their course, it relies on the staff. So it's a good thing to have a connection with the staff, even if it's just the smallest things or something, as long as we can make a difference for them. So as knowing what's happening in their course and what they need to teach the students, it's good to have that relationship, knowing what they need, so you know what to do for the students. And then I agree with what Cassie said. We've done COVID. We've done everything online. We've had all the pre-recorded. So why aren't we still doing it? Because students' health, both mentally and physically, is not planned. Like one day you'll be fine, the other day you won't be able to come in for a week or so. And you would have just missed that whole week of physical teaching when it could be recorded or written, or just having another source accessible, or even to just look back on. Say you might have just been in a lecture and just all of a sudden slightly zoned out. It happens to all of us. And you've just missed some key information. It's good to go back, or even just assure yourself that you are doing the right thing. It's good to have something there for everyone. So yeah, I agree with what everyone's saying. And yeah.
Okay, very agreeable crowd around the approach we should take to this subject. Cyber, coming back to you now, hopefully you're able to come in on this point now. So in terms of working with the staff to improve teaching standards across all the campuses, how would you go about it?
I would like to answer this question, but a bit late. First, I would like to share my own experience this year, I would say. Actually, we had a unit called Creative Industries and People, something like that. I actually don't remember the full thing. So in that course, we had a tutor who was actually teaching us via Zoom call. So the course representatives were there to explain in the class, but the tutor herself was not there. But the thing is, it was, I think, at the end of the, yeah, like we had 3 or 4 classes left before the class would end. So before that, we had a change for the tutor. How did it become possible? Because we really talked with every students, actually talked with the course representatives, that we should have a petition for this, that we need to get the tutor changed. Because we can't, yeah, if we I would say, if we want to concentrate on the studies, like if this teacher is not there, she's in the video call and teaching us the slides, it actually doesn't grab the, it's not captivating for the students to understand each of the lines, I would say. So that's how we changed our tutor before like the end of the course. So I would say the course representatives are the voice of the students of those courses and units, I would say. So if we need to improve those teaching standards of all campuses, we need to have specific meetings with all the course representatives. There should be meetings, like 3 or 4 meetings at least monthly, I would say, to improve those things. And also the student portal layout, it's way more better than the previous one, I would say. It's
Okay.
easier right now. Yeah.
Okay, so got our next question. Thank you, Cyber, for that. We're going to move on to LGBTQIA plus, and we've got a question here from Ali. So, how are you intending on supporting the LGBTQIA plus community if you were to be elected? And I'd like to hear from Cassie on this one, please.
Cool, thank you, Steve. So I think to start with, it's important to have representation. And as a queer person, having a queer president as a representative at the head of the union, I think is a really good start for having groundwork on visibility. And then as a first point, I'd like to restructure the way the identity groups work. So we already have an identity group for the LGBTQIA plus community. It currently meets 3 times a year, and I think there's quite a small uptake, and it's very hard if you miss the one meeting to get in contact with them. So I'd really like to restructure the way those groups meet and hold more meetings. And it maybe doesn't have to be led by the union every time, but we can have student officers on a bit more of the running of that. I think there also needs to be some more diversity and inclusion training for staff to have a greater understanding of queer spaces. I mean, it's an art school, and there are still plenty of tutors that don't understand how to use pronouns, and I think that's just not on. Pronouns and the proper use of pronouns and asking people their pronouns should be integrated to the way the staff integrate with students, and it should be something that's pushed from day one of joining UCA. I think, there was an email sent out, I'm sure most of you will have seen it, acknowledging non-binary students on campus and that they have pronouns and we should use their pronouns, and it came across as quite othering, I think, and I think there needs to be more work to be done from the university's perspective to understand that actually the queer community here is not a minority. We actually occupy quite a lot of UCA, and they need to be doing more work to make us feel seen and heard.
Okay, thank you, Cassie. And we want to make sure we get through as many questions as we can. So I'm going to take one more response from candidates on this. I'd like to come to Rajan for your response on this one, please.
Okay, intending of supporting of LGBT community. So the thing is that first of all, those who are belong in this community. So if they are going to contact with me, or I'm going to I know that their identity, I'll work for them. Sometimes they are facing lots of things in like sexual harassment related something's issue. Also our university has this option for sexual harassment related support. Also, I'll work for them. I'll support their community to belong with this they can do their study, and they also communicate participating or something else, like they can continue their study life very well. So I'll make good communication with them, and try to listen or hear their problem, what they really want, what's their need actually, and what they prefer. So this will be the thing is that this will be my first thing for work for them. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Rajan. We're going to move to the next question now, from Frankie. So, hi, candidates. I'm Frankie. What are your plans, if any, for supporting neurodiverse and disabled students and improving studio and workshop accessibility? And I'd like to come to you, April, first on this one.
Okay, so my main plan with this would be to make sure that all areas of the campuses are available and accessible for all students. So whether it be physical or mental disability, I do want to make sure that anyone can access any part of their campus. In particular, this means the basic things like making sure that the lifts work, because in some cases they don't, but it also means making sure that those spaces that they need are safe for those people to access. So whether it be like a woodworking space, it's making sure those spaces are safe for them to access, and that the staff there are trained to, or are aware of how to but like make those places suitable.
Okay, great. Thank you, April. Rebecca.
So I agree with April. There are certain areas in the uni that you simply can't access sometimes, especially if you need just a bit more space, or a ramp, for example, if you've got a wheelchair, or just in general, like having a space that you can easily get to. So, for example, for my fashion studio, you have 2 doors to enter. The door that would lead you to the open space of the studio for you to actually have space, you'd require, it's a heavy door and it doesn't open automatically. It's quite hard to open. But then if you go through the automatic doors, you have to go through the entire studio, which has absolutely almost no space. You struggle walking through there with 2 bags. So it would be a term of walking through this uni basically with students, going, what can this space have to help you? And then walking through it again with staff and people that would be able to help make those changes, and kind of seeing what we can do to make it accessible but also safe for them. Because I appreciate it is hard to make changes to a setup of a classroom, or setting things, changing materials, equipment. I can understand that will be hard. But even if we just something, that's what we're asking for, just something to make a difference. And then yet again, making lectures available on all platforms, just communicating with students and teachers at the same time to make sure students' needs are met, and teachers acknowledge that those needs need to be met. So you find the middle ground, basically.
Okay, great. Thanks, Rebecca. Cyber, anything to add to anything we've heard so far before we move to the next question?
I definitely agree with April that every corner of the university has to be accessible for those people, and and the tutor has to be but bit I would say helpful to them, that they can access those things easily. Yeah, that's the thing.
Okay, thank you very much. And we're going to move into a question now that might test some of your less agreeable sides. Whilst you might all agree with each other, there'll be times definitely when you may need to challenge figures of authority in the university and further afield externally. So I'm going to come to Cassie first. How do you feel about challenging or raising objections to figures of authority in a formal setting? And do you have any examples of this personally?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell a bit of a story. and you're going to stop me if I talk too long, Steve.
I will indeed.
So in winter of first year, I'm a disabled student. I have a flexible, invisible disability that really impedes my mobility on certain times and days. And in the winter of first year, I received an email from the university telling me that I was no longer allowed to study here because it wasn't safe. And I didn't know better, and I went home and I didn't challenge it. They did this again in second year, and said, your condition is too much for us to deal with. We don't know what to do. Please leave. Stop studying on campus. And I was so upset with this. Obviously, I took it to the head of campus straight away, Terry Perk, and had to have a whole series of lots and lots of meetings with senior leadership about implementing risk assessments and making sure that things are safe for me. There was a lot of discussion around whether access should come before safety. And I really had to push for my right to be here, for my right to study on campus, because my grades and my attendance and stuff has never been an issue. It was purely the physical aspect of my disability that they weren't okay with. So I've really had to stick up for myself and advocate for myself in these meetings when I've got 4 or 5 members of senior leadership in the room telling me that I shouldn't be here. That is probably the best example I can give you. After the second time they told me to leave, I actually challenged that and they let me stay, and they haven't said anything like that since, and have done a lot more to put in place some proper access and support for me. But there was a long time where I had to fight directly against senior leadership in the union to kind of have my spot here.
Okay. Thank you very much, Cassie. And can we please come to Cyber next on this one?
Yeah, definitely. Actually, I had an issue with the attendance thing. Right now, the attendance is if you go, if I'm not wrong, according to my information right now, for the attendance, if a student is missing classes for consequently 4 days, they had to sign those absent forms. But it's not like that it would be permissible for them to get excused, I would say. But it actually has a plus point in a way that they can actually miss 1 or 2 classes for the attendance. But I would share my own experience when I was here. I would talk about last year. I had medical reasons that I wasn't able to attend the classes in the winter, basically. So I had so much medical issues that sometimes the NHS is so slow that they actually don't provide you enough information, or I would say the reports that university want from us. So there was a situation. The university gave me 7 days, and it will take 14 days from NHS to give me a medical report. So unfortunately, at that time, one of the senior, I would say senior, I think management team, I don't remember the name. He emailed me that this is we can't do anything about it. It's your fault that you haven't attended those classes. But I'm telling them that I had missed classes because I literally have those issues, and I already gave them the prescriptions and each and everything that I could provide, that I had with me from the NHS. But they need more stuff, that I was literally sick at that moment, that I wasn't able to attend the classes. That's why my grades went down. So at that moment, the university was ready to terminate me. But when I made them realize that it's not my fault, it's NHS fault, then they gave me they gave me second chance, that yeah, you can, but you need to look out for those attendance this year. You can't be you can't literally miss those classes. If you are sick, you have to inform us before. My question is, if I'm sick, suppose I have classes tomorrow. Suppose it's an example. Suppose I have classes tomorrow, but I had fever this night. So how would I provide whatever it is document for that thing? That's my that's my what will I say? That's the dilemma that each and every student are facing right now, and I personally don't know what is the answer for that thing.
Two very
Yeah.
personal examples there of speaking to power around those issues and experiences. So, April, coming to you next, please.
Hello. So mine is also a similar personal experience, but it's not actually within uni, but rather when I was at college. Obviously, I'm as a member of the LGBT gender fluid community. There was a little bit of issues that I had with some people while I was in college, but so I did have to sort of approach and say, "Hey, I exist, and this is me. You can't really change that." So I did have to sort of challenge them in a sense of saying, basically saying, I am who I am. Don't try and force me to not be that. So yeah, there was a little bit of a hostility there in terms of them. I had some issues with some people, but yeah, I challenged it because I'm not. It was a difficult thing to do, but it's something you kind of have to do and have to get used to doing when. Yeah.
Thank you, April. And nice. It's great to see candidates being so open, and thank you all for your openness so far and willing to share those experiences with viewers on the stream. Rajon, come to you, please.
Okay. My experience is very nice with like formal setting without tutors, because right now I'm going to share my self experience. I'd like to say like I'm doing MBA. I have course like human centered innovation and design. So this unit is going full online. So in a week, only one day, morning 10 to 5 p.m. we are attending this class by through a Zoom link. So in these classes, now lots of our students facing lots different kind of problem, like they are login, they are not allowing to join this class after 10 minutes before start this class. They have to log in and wait for the classes, and when we got break, we have to log in. Still we have to log in during our lunch time as well. And they're going to segregate like the different, they are going to give us the different access, and we have to got it and find out our break room, and we have to do our assignment. They are implementing lots of rules and regulation in our first class. So lots of students are failed to join these classes, and they are raising their voice. They are going to send like unofficial. They are going to use unofficial languages in chat boxes, and they are going to send like awkward messages to the tutor. And during these classes, when I got our lunch break, and I contact with my unit course lead and my representative, and she's very nice. I wish to mention her name. Her name is Barbara Igrani. So I contact with her, and I talked with her like we are doing MBA, and lots of students are doing GMBA and lots of courses in this unit, and we are near about 1,000 plus students. So lots of students are from different background, and they are not familiar with this system, and also some of students are not serious about online classes because they are not aware about these classes. So this is our first class, so we have option to request our tutor, and we have option to discuss with our tutor, and we're gonna send email to our tutor that our student are doing like this. And if you do like this, then it will be better for us to familiar with this unit and the taxes. What what is your actual message to share with us, like what we're gonna learn from these courses, and describe about the unit, we have the unit lecture in our learning resources, but the tutor lecture also recorded, and she gonna share with us later. But the student, those who are participating in this class, they are facing Wi-Fi problem, internet connection problem. So
Okay, so I'm really sorry to call it across. Time is pressing on. We've drifted slightly away from the question.
Can you please allow me like little bit second? Then after these classes, and the next day we meet with our Pia sir, who is our unit lead of MBA courses, and discuss with him and took suggestion from him. And we sent a text email to our tutor, our unit lead, and she sort out all this problem.
I'm
I'm going
really,
to,
really sorry. We are pressed for time, Roger. We did talk quite long there, I'm afraid. So we're going to come to
that experience was very nice for me. I'm very happy with the response.
Moving on to Rebecca now, please, Rebecca.
Hi. So going to the question, in an ideal situation when going up to a figure of authority, you want to go in standing your ground, but also having an open view to be able to work the idea with the person. So that's an ideal situation. I can say sometimes you need to go in and be stubborn about it. So the incident I had at the beginning, well, a friend of mine had, but I had to sort out for them at the beginning of this academic year, was they had to, their course got changed from Epsom campus over to Farnham, but all the documents sent over just were sent over to Canterbury. There was a whole mix-up, and because they're an international student, it didn't. Their visa didn't represent what had happened. So there was so many issues, and every time they had tried to get in contact with the uni, it was denied. It was told it was going to get sorted later on. You couldn't get in contact with everyone, to the point where I had to get in contact on their behalf because it was costing them too much to do that. And emails are just getting lost in the process. And I understand that the beginning of university is a mess. It is a mess for everyone, staff, students, just everything's a mess. But the fact that there was no structure there, and the fact that I had to push for someone else to be able to even join their course as an international student, and the fact that I had to go through so many lines of contact, it was calling up going, can I speak to someone? And them going, oh no, sorry, I can't do this. Well, get me someone that can. It's, even though they're a figure of authority, even though, yes, they're in a higher position than you, you have to be respectful, but stand your ground to get your point across. That is, I think, really key, especially as being president. You stand your ground, get your point across, but be respectful. So when the next people come and do it, they don't have the view of they want. Like, if that makes sense, I really hope it does.
Okay, thank you, Rebecca. And certainly, if I'm invited back next year to do this, I'll definitely have to work on my David Dimbleby about cutting across you. So thank you all for your answers there. And we are on the final stretch now. So again, well done for coming this far. We're nearly there. And I just wanted to pick out a few questions from each of your manifestos now. So I'm going to again come to each individually. And Cassie, a great looking manifesto, I have to say. I noticed you want to have more regular UCASU events. And how will you ensure that these are successful, and especially in like the Canterbury Bar, for example, not doing as well as we'd hoped this year?
Yeah, that's a really good point, Steve. And I thought about this a lot when putting it into my manifesto and my campaign, is that I don't want to promise something that I can't deliver. And the Canterbury Bar is failing hard right now. We are really struggling. And I think, honestly, my way around this, for a start at least, is in Canterbury. I'd like to talk to the CCCU Students' Union and see if we can team up with their union to start running events out of their bar and doing things there. So we're outsourcing the space, we're outsourcing the alcohol, we're not having to spend as much on startup costs. That's kind of the practical side of things. Aside from that, there needs to be a heck of a lot more visibility of the union and what we're saying on campus. So that comes back to signposting, that comes back to the branding of the union, and how much and how good the content is that we can get out to students, and the means we're getting that out to them as well. So I think more events at the bar would be great. It's a bit of a pipe dream right now, and I think we need to like push our efforts in other directions, whether that's outsourcing to other local venues, or putting on smaller events that aren't revolved around drinking, so that we can fundraise to get the ball rolling, kind of. I think part of the problem here is that there is no kind of Canterbury bar life to bring more in. No one knows that there's anything happening here because nothing's happened for 3 years now. So there's no kind of like understanding that it's a good night out anyway. We need to kind of ramp this up from the ground again, and that starts with small events, and that starts with making sure that we're not spending too much on events that people don't turn up to.
Okay, thank you, Cassie. April, moving on to you. And a nice UCASU teal I see there in the background from the manifesto. What efficient methods of gaining student feedback do you plan to implement if elected as president?
So I would first off make the campus officers more visible, because as discussed, or as mentioned by Cassie, the union visibility in Rochester and in Canterbury is not up to the standard that I think it should be. So making sure that those people are present is the first bit, and then having regular liaisons with the campus officers, with the course representatives, and even directly with the students themselves, so that they know exactly who they can turn to when they have a problem, and those people know how to address those issues. So if they've got an issue with their course, they know to turn to their course representative, who will then in turn liaise with other people to make sure that the problem is resolved. And then the same with any other issues that they have, they can address with their campus officer. Just to sort of, just making sure that the chains of communication are established and maintained and visible.
Okay, thank you, April. Hello, Rajan. After the last answer you gave, I suppose I shouldn't be surprised to see there was lots of information and detail on your manifesto. What you mentioned specifically around students developing drug addiction, and we just wondered, what evidence do you have for this?
Look, if I said about myself, I am from Asian country, and lots of students are studying with me from Asian country. Do you know what? Lots of students came here. They have dream for higher study. They will do their study very nicely, and they have their specific goal. Sometimes they're facing like a financial problem, their personal life related problem. They're becoming faster day by day. If I said about my course, at the first we was like 100 over student, and after 1 or 2 months I find only 80 or 70 people, and I'm trying to communicate with them. What happened? They said that they are very much frustrated about their life. They didn't find part-time job. They're facing accommodation problem. They have financial problem as well. So sometimes I didn't try to mention their name. I'm trying to meet with them. What happened actually? And I find them, they're becoming like they're diverse from their study, and they're trying, they are preparing themselves. They wanna close their study, shut down their study. They are going to switch their visa. As for the previous record, I cannot mention the number. Lots of students close their study for their frustration life. So the frustration is the most important thing for becoming addicted with drug. So I'll work for them. Don't be frustrated. You have option. You have chance. You can do best and better. Just try to continue. If you do this, if you continue this, then your life will be best. You can become what you want. So we have well-being team. They are working very well. I know that, but lots of students, they are feeling very shy. Asian people are very shy, because I mentioned that because in my classes I found lots of students, they have lots of idea, but they are not trying to ask to tutor. If they have any question, they are not trying to ask to tutor because they are feeling shy. And this is the another thing is that when they're getting frustrated, they're not they just come down and hiding their self and shut down their study. So if I become a president, I want to work for them, those who are getting really frustrated, those who want to shut down their study. I will
The
face
evidence,
them.
sorry to interrupt again, question, Roger. The evidence, we're saying it's word of mouth, the evidence that you've gathered around the drug addiction point.
No, I'm not talking about they are getting drug in campus.
Oh, so the question was around evidence of drug addiction from your manifesto. So new students developing
No,
drug addictions. You referenced it a little bit there, but we're going to have to move on anyway. So we just want to know what evidence you'd had. Like, where did you get the evidence to show that students are developing drug addictions?
yeah.
Very quickly, if that's okay.
Yeah. Evidence. You are asking about evidence.
Yes.
There is no evidence. I'm trying to make a relation between frustration and drug.
Okay,
Sometimes,
so no evidence. You're trying to make a relationship between the two things. Is that summarized?
no, it's not like the surprised. You know what? So maybe you get my point wrong. My point is that those who were like,
I'm not sure I get the point wrong. Though. Sorry to cut across again. Is there no evidence though? Because the question was about is
no,
there evidence?
no.
Right.
There is
Okay.
there,
That's
there
what
is,
we needed to know. That's what we
my
needed to know.
campus already alert about
Okay.
that.
We've
Also,
got to move on. Sorry, we've got to move on, Rajan. Thank you. Rebecca?
Hiya. Oh, sorry, you're muted, Steve.
Literally, my dog has done so well, and he just started barking as good, and I started running around. But anyway, right, he's quiet down again. So, Rebecca, last but by no means least, the union does have a very tight budget. So I wondered where you would plan to pull the money from to set up a materials allowance for students who are, also have a tight budget. So if you give us some detail on that, that would be great.
So materials for every course are costing a lot. We know that on top of all the, we know that as much as staff knows that and the union knows that of how much they pay for the materials for us. So I know it's not realistic to assume we're going to get this budget out of nowhere, but starting off at least small, so maybe even getting the most basic of workshops available to us for free, even if it's not available for us physically, at least digitally, or because I know my course is now doing workshops, but you have to pay to attend those workshops, which is we've already paid so much. Why aren't we getting, I'm not expecting to be able to get just a budget out of nowhere, but I want to start small, maybe setting up the print workshops. We've got an entire print studio and knitting machines that have come in that we don't have access to because we're not on that specific course. But if they're available for people to be today we're doing a basic knitting workshop, sign up and attend, you don't pay for this, that would be a starting point for it. And maybe if seeing the effect that has, we'd be able to either fundraise or maybe budge even the uni a bit to try and build up a budget for oncoming years.
Okay, great. Thank you, Rebecca. Unfortunately, as I mentioned at the start of the stream, we didn't receive manifestos from all the presidential candidates. But I'm sure if you're watching, I'm sure you're doing all you can to let students know why they should be voting for you, why you decided to run, and what you want to achieve during your campaigns. And that concludes the presidential debate. But before you all escape, I do have one more question, and I want a quick answer, please. So no more than 10 seconds. And I'm going to start with Cassie. Who do you think students should put as their second choice candidate after you?
That is a horrible question, Steve. I would vote for April.
Okay, thank you, Cassie. Let's go to April.
Funnily enough, I was going to say I would go for Cassie.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to Rajon.
I would like to say if I got chance, I'll vote for myself. I'll get now. I'm getting.
We know you'd vote for yourself. Who would you put after you?
As if you asked me, my second choice, so I'll vote for April.
Okay, Cyber.
April.
I'll go for Casey, because each and every point she mentioned was like tremendously beautifully portrayed. So yeah, Casey.
So that's Cassie, yeah. Okay. And Rebecca.
I love everyone's points, but I would definitely vote for Cassie.
Okay, Cassie coming out very strongly in that round then. So thank you all for taking part. As I said at the halfway stage, you've all done fantastically well. Genuinely, having seen thousands of officers down the years, this has been a really impressive bunch and a really impressive debate and some really good answers there. So well done, and I genuinely mean that. And good luck with the election. Thank you all for those watching at home, those who submitted questions as well. You can read more about the presidential and campus officer candidates at ucasu.com/elections. Voting has already opened, so please head to ucasu.com/elections, log in with your UCA login and cast your preferences in the SU elections. Voting will close at 3 p.m. This Friday, and there'll be a live results announcement on Friday evening. How exciting. You can watch the live stream, just like tonight's stream, from 5 p.m. on Friday the 17th of March. And all remains to say is really thank you again, and well done to the candidates. You've done a super job, and I wish you all the very best of luck. Good night.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye. Bye all. Have a great evening.